Alrighty. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic That's Known Classics. This is episode number 1809 and Doubleshot number 1703. I have two more trades right now talking about Avengers West Coast. First up we have Avengers West Coast Epic Collection Volume 3 Tales to Astonish. Yep. This book contains issues 25 to 37 and number 2, the 16th annual, and Marvel graphic novel Emperor Doom. Which, by the way, start off with that particular book. Yep. Which, by the way, it's done by David Lee and Bob Hall. What a gorgeous cover that is. Yeah. Yep. Now, the Emperor Doom thing is simply Doctor Doom taking over the world. This is one of the Marvel graphic novels. So this takes place before West Coast Avengers number 1, which begs the question, why the heck did they not basically put this in the actual, main book? Honest answer, I don't have any idea. It's by far one of the most baffling things related to Marvel when it comes to this particular thing. And of course, this one involves the Purple Man. Yep, the Purple Man. Yep. Not surprising he threw this in here because it's part of the Avengers Coast, so why not? Yeah. Mostly, it's the whole story of this one is Doctor try to take over the world. He kind of succeeds. This may take place between the volumes. That's my guess. But therefore, Vision changes color. Well, before, anyways. Yeah. It's a very excellent one-shot with basically Doctor Doom. Looks like he kind of succeeds to take over the world. And if you're curious, though, what number is basically Emperor Doom? It's a 27th Marvel graphic novel. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. But it's an absolute excellent one-shot. Yeah, basically Doctor Doom take over the world. It's a good spy story, but yeah, really awesome stuff here. Great one-shot. Let's see if I can do it. It's basically almost like a 40-page one-shot. And then we have the second annual for Avengers West Coast. Which, like in the case of the first annual, it's basically East versus West again. Yep. This time to play some baseball. Oh yeah, some baseball, right? Oh, the Grandmaster. Really interesting annual. Yeah, but like with the first one, East versus West once again. Yeah, I don't know why, but that apparently is what basically that's the purpose of the first couple of of the series. So the East fights the West Coast team. Then have the Avengers take on Death. Yeah, going to space and take on the Legion of the Unliving. Guest starring West Coast Avengers, the original Captain Marvel, Dracula, Hyperion, Green Goblin. Yeah, so Grandmaster is summoned, the Legion of the Unliving, which Eckhart himself created. And, oh boy, there's the Green Goblin here. You might be curious, though, who was under that mask as the Green Goblin? It's been suspected that could have been Norman Osborn at this point in time, but due to being alive in the 90s, this has sort of been retconned to being the third Green Goblin, Burt Hamilton. Oh yeah, definitely. They kind of in a way retconned this here. Why in the world did they do it for? I have no idea. They include the swordsman here. One of like a couple times they included him as basically a member of the Legion of the Unliving. It's quite interesting incarnation for Legion of the Unliving. It's comprised of the swordsman Kyle Raymuch. I don't think he was dead at this point. Dracula, Bucky Barnes, which at the time they probably thought was Bucky, but really wasn't. Percival of basically the original Black Knight. The Executioner, this of course is Scourge. Did he die prior to this one? No, he died a couple years after this one. Terex the Tamer, Captain Marvel, Baron Blood, Hyperion, Green Goblin, and of course Karvak, Death Adler, and Red Guardian. Yeah, really fun annual. I guess they included here, even despite I guess not like a two-part story like the other one was. They included because the West Coast Avengers are here, so why the heck not? Let's get past this one here. We have 25. On the cover, looks like we see Wonder Man fighting, of all people, the Abomination. It's all about Wonder Man in this issue. Wonder Man, a little bit of Moon Knight. Yeah, it's interesting having Wonder Man fight Abomination for the first time. Yeah, both characters. Well, Stanley created Wonder Man. Abomination was not created by somebody else, but yeah. Yeah, Abomination, a Hulk villain taking on Wonder Man. And we have 26, beginning of a really good story arc here. First of two big ones they have in this trade here. We have the Zodiac attack. Okay, the start is one of those, you have the Zodiac cartel, the original Zodiac. Basically, they're in their headquarters, playing the next game. And then Scorpion says, like, why are you standing for? Have a seat here. And he takes him and is like, oh, I'm Jack. Like, nope. He takes him ass again. It's like, you're Jake Fury. You're dead. Yes. And he's like, so are you. And he opens the orb, and there's a bunch of robots. Yes. This is the LMD version of the Zodiac. By the way, they mentioned here the last time that the Zodiac appeared was back in the issue of Iron Man, issue like 189. I think it was like 186, I think it was. Yeah, it's like, yeah, they mentioned that in here. I thought it was quite interesting. But in the case of the Avengers, it's the first time they fought him since an arc that Steve Eckhart did for the previous volume for the series. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's also kind of where they brought in the LMD robots. Which, here's the thing. In this issue alone, this actually kills up all the members of the Zodiac. Yeah, and then pretty much with the very next issue, like, with this issue here, all of the members of Zodiac are killed. Yes, the Zodiac Cartel, the original Zodiac that Roy Thomas created back in the 70s, all of them killed off here except for two. Tauros, and for probably for a long time, he was the only person for him to survive. That was until Avengers Forever retconned it, where Libra also survived too. Mantis' father. Yes, Mantis also a creation of Steve Eckhart, but Libra is a creation of Roy Thomas. Yeah, he was affected by basically posing as it basically move his body as he appears to be dead. Yep. And for the next few issues, basically you have the Zodiac and this little LMD storyline where they even replaced a couple of the Avengers. They first replaced Hawkeye, who is basically the Sagittarius of the group. Yeah, Sagittarius, a guy who looks like frickin' Hawkeye for some reason. I do not know why, but it's weird to say the least. Yeah, and by the way, what was the purpose of this group? The answer? Don't have any idea. It's by far one of the most weirdest ideas. Oh, and here's a strange little fun factoid. Like, you're probably thinking, oh, what was did this go first page of this book? No. The first pages of Defenders of all places, Defenders issue 49. Yeah, that's where the LMB version of the Zodiac popped up. Mm-hmm. And here's the strange thing. After this three-parter, they weren't sitting into the 21st annual of Avengers, which was released in 1992. Yeah. So, that was like 4 years after this, but the thing is, the last physical appearance was actually in JLA Avengers before, but they also put in issue number 2, Avengers Forever. You're thinking, Avengers Forever, you mean that current book that Marvel publishes by Jason Aaron? Not that one. The original book. Yep. But this story, you could think it wraps by 28, but no. 29 is basically the epilogue, where you have Tauros, who is actually briefly as a prisoner of the Avengers, though he's later killed by frickin' Moon Knight. My colleagues play the crash. Yep. And the whole thing about Avengers not killing, and then later on, of course, this leads into stuff related to the Tale of Astonish stuff. But this storyline is fantastic. I love the Zodiac stuff. Yes. By the way, Eckhart and Roy Thomas do a better job writing the Zodiac than Dan Slott. His version was boring. My gosh. Yeah, revealing, oh yeah, all members simply just brainwashed. He's come from Scorpio. Yeah, and Tauros himself, the original Tauros, the version that Roy Thomas created, yeah, he's killed off by issue 29, which is simply like the epilogue to this very story arc. Yeah, it's like the epilogue. That's pretty much the whole purpose of this issue. It's like the conclusion, because 20 kind of wraps up the storyline where this is like the epilogue, and that's the last we see of the original Tauros. Yep. Yep. And the Shroud. Oh boy, the Shroud. A guy who... How should I put this? A guy who, simply put, has got like a thing on his face. Yes, seriously. And you might be asking, when was the first time this guy showed up? Well, he's a Steve Eckhart character, so of course Eckhart featured him here. He first appeared back in Super Team number 5. No, seriously, that was the first time he showed up. And it is by far one of the most baffling things related to this character. He appeared in a villain group, and here's the weird thing. The guy is insane. And you want to know why he's insane? Because he's obsessed with Julia Carpenter, a.k.a. the second Spider-Woman. Oh yeah, he is obsessed with her. Oh my gosh, it is a big obsession. Yeah, and prior to appearing in West Coast Avengers, like the one-ish appears in that book, he appears also issue 40. He previously appeared in Soul Avengers number 3. This guy even had his own mini-series. Yes, a mini-series published in the 90s. Yeah. Yeah, and his most recent appearance, I thought it was previously in Daredevil. That's what he was for quite a while. He was a recurring character in Mark Waid's one. He recently popped up again during the Jed MacKay run for Moon Knight. Yes, seriously, they brought him back. It seems quite strange, but that's basically what it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, after Tauros simply eliminated, my guess is Eckhart probably felt this so. Yeah, we killed the Zodiac off. Let's just basically kill off the last member. Basically saying, yeah, the Zodiac cartel is gone. As for this composite Avenger, it doesn't really do anything. It's basically battling a robot for a standalone issue. Yeah, and then pretty much with the 31, they have fancy writer and text with something Archon. Yes, Archon. Yeah, this guy. A guy who is, simply put, the best way to describe this guy, he's a space rep of Thor and Conan the Barbarian. That is the best way to describe this guy. Oh gosh, yes. They might be asking, okay, when was the last time Archon himself physically appeared? Well, they do mention when he first appeared back in Avengers 75. Yeah. He previously appeared prior to this very issue, back in the 5th annual for X-Men, which was released back in 1981. This standalone issue was released in 1988, roughly 7 years later. Yeah. And of course, he would pop up again for 75 of the series, and he appeared sporadically over the years. His most recent appearance was actually in the final issue of the second volume for Champions. The first run, of course, of the recent era of the group. Mm-hmm. Interesting, though, we have basically Archon fighting frickin' Wonder Man, a guy who he never fought before, and now we have him fighting this guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a standalone issue, really fun, seeing basically Archon take on Wonder Man for an issue. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, then the Wasp comes by to pay a visit. Yes, the Wasp. You're thinking, really? What the heck is a Wasp doing here? Yeah, and of course they bring back a character in this book named Yajaranger. Basically a giant ape was on the same page of Godzilla of all places. Yeah, let me show you what this guy looks like. Here he is, Yegor, who was last seen in Godzilla number 10. Yeah, Marvel had. This is basically Marvel's personal kaiju. This is the only kaiju they own. Yeah. It was going just fighting him. Yeah, and then of course, like, basically, then we have a story known as Tales to Astonish, the Man in the Anthill, which the name itself is a nod to the debut of Scott Lang. That's going debut of, well, of all people, Hank Pym. And this whole story arc is all about him. Oh yeah, definitely. And they also made Quicksilver a villain in this story arc. Yeah. Yeah, and they also bring in I think it was in the opening issue, one of the issues, they bring back Madam X, who was last seen back in the 60s. Yeah, her previous appearance was actually back in 1962. Hank Pym's like, yeah, we see her, like, let me show the panel because it's so hilarious. Like, something about supposed to investigate Maria Pym. Like, oh yeah, Avengers, you're under arrest. Hell, I'm the best. I got Avengers criminals. No one calls Avengers criminals for the fight. Yeah, and apparently El Toro, Madam X, Beast of Berserk, they're all enemies of Hank Pym's. Which, yeah. Toro last fought Hank Pym back in 1964, back in Tales of Astonish 54. Beast of Berlin fought him in issue 60 of Tales of Astonish back in 1964. And Madam X, he last fought back in Tales of Astonish 36, which actually was his second ever story as Ant-Man, because this is basically like they bring her back 20 years later for some reason. Don't know why. Yeah, it's kind of weird though. Yeah, she appears for this issue and then the following issue, and that's it for the character. It's almost like, hey, let's have Eckhart bring back two characters who fought Hank Pym back in the 60s. Yep. And of course, Vision's got to go to this place, which leads to basically having, and of course, like, oh yeah, Trouble. Yeah. So these three are released, but to catch up with People's Public. All the rest of us, Mockingbird, Moon Knight, those two criminals living stay behind bars. Get out. Oh yeah? Look at Lehman Loudon. I am mad at X to you, Hawkeye. You're leaving over my objections, but you told. You three of crime espionage to be fair. Just keep your weapons. Let me guess. Wait, let me guess. Because I'm her husband, right? He socks her. He punches her right in the face. And one of them is like, okay, I'll fight too. Yeah, fight. Yeah, take the flag of Hungary. Whacking this guy up. Yeah, beat up. Yeah, have the West Coast Avengers beat up 3 people that Hank Pym fought back in the 60s. Okay. After all that's smooth over, to deal with the whole thing with a little bit of the Vision's backstory, his marriage, stuff with Hank and Jen. It's just so fun here. Yeah. And then, of course, they go to, and then you have Mockingbird and Hawkeye wake up in Doctor Doom's place. Yes, except this is not the original Doctor Doom. Oh no, this is Christoph Ballard. Yeah, he's the Doctor Doom in this issue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course, oh yeah, I gotta deal with and there's also issues, basically that Hawkeye and Mockingbird start fighting, and they demand divorce. Fine, with divorce. Yeah, this is something basically. So Hawkeye finds out what Bobby did back in the Lost in Space time story arc where she killed the Phantom Rider, and instead of sympathizing with her, nope, divorces her because she broke the Avengers Code, which I thought was quite stupid. Yeah, and then of course they wrap this up with the very next issue. By the way, the whole thing with his villains, they don't pop up ever again in comics. Nope, they appear for return for that first two issues. You see, look like Maria, but she's like chopping a jar. Yeah. And then, of course, 37 is simply like some of the Avengers leaving. You have Mockingbird, Tigra, and Moon Knight leaving to do their own separate thing. That's something that would basically spill over us the series. And then we return of Mantis. Yes, Mantis. We see her return here. I mean, her last appearance, I think, was back. They mentioned like she was last seen back in Giant Size Avengers #4. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting though they bring back Mantis here. Yeah, the daughter of Libra. Yeah, it's also revealed she actually does find out this issue about the death of her father. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, prior to this issue, she was featured in the third annual for West Coast Avengers. She mostly popped up in pages of Silver Surfer. Yeah, that's what her Marvel wise she's popped up in was the Silver Surfer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and basically when she was last seen, from their perspective, she got married to the Ghostless Swordsman. Yep. Yeah. This is a really fun issue. I love the issues in here. So good, I give it a 9. Basically, let me give it a 10 out of 10. It's really good. Next up is a trade I never thought we'd talk about here. It is... Stop. Thank you. Known as Avengers X-Men Blood Ties. Yes, this story arc here, this trade here collects these following issues. It collects Avengers 368 through 69, Avengers West Coast 101, X-Men Volume 2 26, and X-Men 307. Though it doesn't contain here There's a live printing of this book that does contain. I gotta stop here. Excuse me. I have to stop it because I have to go to